Hello and welcome to another video blog post from cmsquickstart.com. Today we're taking a look at the Views CustomField module at drupal.org/project/views_customfield. This is a real tricky module that does some pretty cool stuff. I use it for a couple specific purposes, but it has broader applications as well, and we're going to go into one of my favorite uses. As you can see on the project page, it has a markup option. You can simply add some markup in there. And it also has a PHP code option. You can put some conditional logic in there and render things conditionally, which is what I like to do. And you can also keep track of the row numbers of your results if you needed to. I haven't had to do that, but you can do it if you want to. And it does respect pagers. So when you're on page 2 of maybe a set of 10, it'll show you the second group. It won't repeat the first through 10th. And that's pretty cool. So, who are we? We are cmsquickstart.com. Do check out my previous blogs. I have quite a few of them. I'm building up quite a library there. And also check out the custom themes over at the Drupal themes button. Really cool stuff. These themes have built-in slideshows and quick tabs and most viewed content. Lots of cool things. It really is the turnkey solution to your next Drupal project. Who am I? I am Doug Van. You can check me out at dougvan.com if you want to. And as always, today I'll be using dougvan.com for my demonstration. So here's where I want to start. I want to start over here with views. Obviously, the Views CustomField module adds some functionality to the Views interface, the Views UI. Here's a view that I set up before I started recording. Very simple view. It's a page display. And the filters are on published nodes that are of blogs. I have many blog posts, not enough, but many blog posts, and I'm showing nothing but the title field. I'm showing 10 of those, and I have a full pager going on. So here's the preview down here. Sure enough, and these are linked to their full node, and here's a pager down here, and the same thing is viewable over here on the page. I have the pager there, and this is the page at dougvan.com/views_custom_field. I just chose that address so I knew what I was talking about here. Now we're going to do something pretty fun to the view here. I want to add my Views custom field, and I'll show you what I do. Over here, there is custom field. You choose that. You get 3 options, and these 3 options are the same 3 options you see listed over here: markup, PHP code, and row number. And as I mentioned, I use primarily the custom PHP code. Look around on those other 2 options. There's some cool stuff that can be done. And here we go. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to add it. Now, one thing I always do when I add a new field to a view is take the label out, because scrolling down, we have this really cool field right here. In this field, we can put PHP in. That's very cool. So I'll put it in here. It says please put in your PHP tags there. And I'll do that. Now, the data object, every time Views executes, it brings back a number of records. Well, hopefully it brings back some records. If all your filters are satisfied, then you'll have at least 1 record back. But if you don't get any records back, then you don't get any records back. But it's all stored in the data object. So the DSM, recall that the devel module gives us the Drupal set message, and that is Drupal show message. I've heard it phrased either way. So if we do a little DSM of string data, that will show us the Crumo output of our data. And there it is, all these. So there's 10 of these because there's 10 records. So this the DSM, thanks to the devel module being turned on, the DSM function is valid. I can take a look at the data coming in. So the node ID is 4 of this one, 5 of that one, and 6 of this one. So these are all my blog titles. On my blog nodes, these are my blog titles, so node_title and NID. Now notice I'm not asking for the node ID. I could add the NID field, but by default Views always grabs the node ID for some reference of some kind. I don't know what, but it does come in quite handy. So going back to so here's the data object, and these are variables inside of that. So I can actually go back to my field here and do some logic. Okay, and now I have access to these fields. You know what though? Actually, I want one more field before I do this. Some of my blog posts, of these 10 blog posts here, some of them have an embedded image in the body, and some do not. At some point, I started using a WYSIWYG, and I started putting an image on some of my blog posts. And sometimes I just hard-coded them, didn't even use a WYSIWYG. But so some blog posts have images inside of them, some don't. What if there was a way to denote which ones do and which ones don't? Well, I can do that. I can take a look at the body. So I'll add the body. That'll be another node body. Node body. Add. Now, I'm actually not going to render the body. I just want to simply do some data calculations on it. So I'm going to exclude that from display. And again, my habit is to never have a label rendered. Just never. And when I render this title, I don't want the title field to actually render by itself. I want to exclude this from display. I'm going to print this in the context of my PHP custom field, and that's going to make a lot more sense here in a second. So update the display settings. Now, at this point, the node's not printing and the node body is not rendering, so I actually have no printable data. And typically, you would get an error saying, you have no fields selected or all your fields are excluded. But in the case of the custom PHP code, Views does not know if it is or isn't outputting something, so you don't get that error. So one of my habits is to put my custom PHP code field at the very bottom. I just like to do that. It's kind of a hangover from the whole rewrite the output of the Views functionality, if you're familiar with that. So I will update that, put that at the bottom. Now I'm going to go over here and take a look at my data. So the only PHP I'm executing is a simple DSM to give me this really cool handy-dandy thing here. So here's the node revisions body. 1,087 characters on node 4. And I could look in there. Is there an image tag? No. And I happen to know that none of them do, except for the very last one. It does have, the node revisions body does have an image tag in it. And there's your source. There's your height. There's your image tag. Okay. So so of these 10 posts, one of them has an image, but I want to put like a little image icon, or maybe the words has image in bold print, so that when you're looking at the list of blog posts, you can know which ones have images and which ones don't just by looking at them. And since the image is embedded in the body, it's not an image field. There's no way to filter on that or pull that data out other than to do this quick calculation here. So I'm going to actually paste in here the code that I set up before I shot the video. I'm going to expand my text box. That is such a cool feature in Drupal. So here's how this goes. Okay, PHP. So first off, I do this. The data NID is the node number. So here's node 4. So I get my link equal to the alias. So node 4 is actually dougvan.com /dougvan/blog/ the year, the month, the date, and then the title. It's some insanely long thing. I set this up long ago, and I think I would probably do it differently if I had to start over, but it's a really long alias, so I want to use aliases. I don't want to link to the node number. And the reason I have to calculate that is because once I print the link data, like I print this title, this is just the title. The reason we have title in here is because title is one of my fields up here. Here's title. Now that I selected the render as link to node, but in the data object that I get back from the query, all I get is the title. It doesn't wrap an anchor tag around it and put in anything. I mean, it's just text. So I actually have to recreate the node alias myself based on the data NID. In this case, for the first result it's 4, for the second result it's 5. So I have to create my own alias because the render as link on this option here is actually kind of overwritten by the fact that I'm just looking at raw query data. So suffice to say, this line right here, I'm simply creating a usable alias link, so I can. You never want to link with nodes in your own site. Google and all the crawlers and spiders, they get very unhappy with that. Now here's the magic. If string position, if within the data node revisions body, you find an image tag, that's an open image tag. IMG may appear for some crazy reason. I don't know what. Maybe I'm talking about image tags. I don't know. But if the angle bracket IMG appears within the revision body, then that means it has an image in it. So if that is true, then execute this. Print an anchor tag with the link in quotes, and then the text will be the data node title. So again, link is the alias to node 4 on the first iteration of the results, and then the data node title is this title right here, the first blog post of my new site. And then I'm also adding in strong, in bold, has image. And if that's so, if it has an image in it, if the img tag appears in there, then add image to the end. Otherwise, simply print the link with the alias link with the proper title, and then do nothing else. So I will update this. And actually, yes, I will update this. So we're going to lose our DSM because it's no longer there. And now we have all these linkable titles. And the last one says has image. And that's very true. That's an image of a fly rail backstage at the opera. Now, page 3 has no images. Page 4, 2 of them have images. And then into page 5, they all have images. And then they're on, and they're forth. Now I use images all the time. And not a lot of blogs, 54 blogs. So, I don't know if you have a reason to do that exact same thing, but now you know this much. When you have the custom field, the Views CustomField module installed, you can throw all kinds of wild logic in here. Another reason I use this, maybe it was the first reason earlier this year, I had a table with like 5 columns, but there were 6 pieces of data I needed to show in 5 columns, and depending on the value of one of the columns, I would show one kind of data in column 4, I think it was. If 4 was null, then 5 would be shown in this one column. If 5 was null, then 4 would be shown in this column. I needed to show whichever value was not null, and they were never both not null, nor were they ever both null. So it was always an or situation. But they were 2 separate fields that had to be rendered in the same column. So to do that, you can probably imagine, I just used this module and I checked my values, and it was very cool. So the output of this was simply one of the columns of my grid. Or maybe it was a table, I don't recall. But bottom line, this is, the output of this field, this Views CustomField, falls in line with all your formatting and all the other rules that your view will have. So it's very cool. That is the Views CustomField module. You can thank Casey for that. And I do. I've used this thing many times. You can do some wicked tricky stuff with it. I've done a couple live sessions at Drupal camps about this. I love this module. I am Doug Van. Check me out at dougvan.com. Click on there if you need some Drupal training, or just say hello. I'd love to hear from you. CMSQuickStart.com. Do check us out. Check out my other blog posts there, my video, and contact us there. Let us know if you want to see some videos on something else. If these videos are helpful to you, let us know. Thank you so much.